Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Private Equity Academy. I'm your host, Ava Benasaki, and I'm joined by my co-host, August Vinayaz. We have a really exciting show for you today, so please like and subscribe as it helps us build our channel and allows us to keep bringing you great content and expert guest speakers.
Awesome. Super excited about the show today. I got to give a brief story
Yeah,
before we
please.
get into introducing our guests. So within our space, this apartment syndication, or as I like to call it, real estate private equity, where groups and companies buy these large apartment buildings. They raise capital, private capital from investors. There is a person by the name of Joe Fairless. Joe Fairless is an author. He's written one of the top books in this space. He's a thought leader. He's a coach.
Yes.
And a very expensive one.
Yes.
Is a very expensive coach when it comes to this space.
Yeah.
So we were doing some research about Joe, and we've been in discussions. You've talked to him a few times.
Absolutely.
We also, our mentor got coached, who is Dan Hanford, got coached by Joe.
Yes.
So this is kind of, it's a web kind of going there.
Yeah.
In our research about Joe Fairless, we found out that he has a coach.
He has a coach.
And guess who his coach is?
I don't know. Who's his coach?
His coach is a guy by the name of Trevor McGregor that we have right here today. So that's why we were so excited about this show. We want to make the connection about real estate and coaching. Now, this is not only about real estate or investing. This is coaching about life, about business, about everything else. So,
but definitely when you see somebody who has got to that level of success and you find out that he has a coach, you definitely want to pick the brain of that coach because
absolutely. Success leaves a trail, and we're going to follow that trail here today. So we're going to go ahead and do this.
Let me do a quick introduction to our guest today, guys. So we have Trevor McGregor, and Trevor is a high performance master coach with over 30,000 hours, of coaching experience under his belt. He has worked with clients from around the world, including Fortune 500 executives, high-level real estate investors, entrepreneurs, world-class athletes, and business professionals. And they all come to him for one reason, and that's life-changing transformation. So we believe this interview with Trevor will bring tons of value to both active and passive investors on how aligning with a coach could 10x their business and their life. So thank you so much for being here today, Trevor. We really appreciate you coming here.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for such a warm introduction. I'm blessed and grateful to be here with you today. And, we're in good company. We talk about not only what has Joe Fairless done or what has Dan Hanford done, both very good friends of mine, but you guys are crushing it as well. And huge props to you because, again, I believe that we're in that space where we're better together and we can learn and laugh and love and grow and share with each other. And hopefully that's what we're here to give your listeners today is again, like August says, success leaves clues. And so again, with what I've done as a coach and what I've done as a real estate investor, it's given me kind of a front row seat to what's possible in this business. So excited to be here.
Absolutely. Amazing. Let's take a step back and maybe you can find out.
We want to dive into where did your journey begin on coaching and what kind of guided you to become a coach?
Yeah. Well, it goes back even further than that, because again, I grew up in Canada, obviously born and raised in, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And as a little boy, all I ever wanted to do was be an NHL hockey player, right? If you're a Canadian boy, all you want to do is play hockey. And I literally played hockey at a high level, but I didn't have the size. I had the speed, but I didn't have the size to make the big leagues. So I traded in my skates for some tech books and went and studied business, went and worked in corporate like a lot of people do, and cut my teeth, working for a company. And it was really I date myself if I share it with you, but in a certain year, they offered me an opportunity to come in and invest in this company. And they thought, wow, Trevor's a really good employee. Let's cut him into the company. So I literally took all my savings, guys, and I took all of my, 401k and RSPs. I put all of this money into this business's expansion. And I even convinced my own parents, because they loved me and they believed in me, to take out a 6-figure second mortgage on the family home. And I dumped all this money into this massive expansion that this business was doing. And for the first year, it went really well. I thought, wow, here's my chance to be rich, young, successful. And then around, 2001, right around the same time those planes hit the towers, we were expanding way too fast. We were in 5 major cities across Canada and couldn't hang on. And to make a long story short, guys, I lost all of that money I put into it, all of it gone forever. And so it was a really low point in my life. And I figured, geez, how am I ever going to pay back my loans, let alone tell my parents that I lost all this money? So what do you do when you're down and out? will you hire a coach? And I scraped together a little bit of money and I hired a coach. And he said, Trevor, what's happened to you is truly unfortunate, but you're still a young man. You're married. You have two beautiful children. We got to look at different ways for you to, climb back up the ladder, pay off your loans and keep on keeping on. And I remember saying to him, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And he said one thing that changed my life. He said, how about investing in real estate? I said, real estate? I don't know anything about real estate. And he said, well, you can literally buy property using other people's money, fix it up, refinance it, leverage it, sell it, do something with it, and rinse and repeat. And guys, my back was up against the wall. I really didn't know what else to do. So I scraped together some other money from family and friends, bought one little condo in Vancouver, and that was a really good experience. And then I leveraged the money out of that and bought my first townhouse. That was a good experience. And if Vancouver was going through some great appreciation, and then I leveraged both of those properties to buy my first duplex. And I don't know about you, but that's when I really discovered what cash flow was, because this duplex cash flowed like crazy. And then I went on to leverage that to buy another duplex and another one, and then a fourplex, and then a fourplex, and then single family homes. And in a relatively short amount of time, not only did I have a beautiful cash flowing portfolio, but I had enough money to pay off all of those failed loans, including my parents. I paid them back in full. And I'm telling you, that's when life restarted for me.
Amazing. Great. Now, just going back to what you said is you fail in your first venture, understandably. So, you're excited about this company that's growing. You got your back against the wall, but you are smart enough to pursue a coach. So my story is I've always been very confident. I've always, been the breadwinner for my family and what have you. And that pride doesn't allow you to then go and seek help from somebody else in the whatever business you're doing or in life in general, because you think you know it all. So for me, what idea of coaching, when it came about, was a story I can briefly share. Was I ride motorcycles. I've been riding motorcycles since I was 16 years old. And at this juncture, I had probably ridden motorcycles for well over 15, 16 years. So it was a long time I had been riding motorcycles. And I thought myself, I was a great motorcycle. And I went riding with a physician, a doctor friend of mine, and he just destroyed me the way he was riding the bike. So after we were done the ride, I'm like, hey man, how did you learn how to ride a bike? He's like, I learned, I got a coach and I learned it. And I noticed the pattern. He would always have coaches for different things he did. And that was kind of my introduction to, hey, it doesn't matter how great you are, even the top athletes in the world, they always bring in a coach to help them out. And that was kind of my way of learning it way later on in life. What was it about you? What was it about pursuing a coach, particularly in that situation, that you went that direction? What was it at that point?
Well, I love your story, and it's absolutely the same thing. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I knew that if I literally started looking for somebody that had a little bit more life experience, a little bit more financial experience, maybe some wisdom, and I stumbled upon this amazing coach, and that literally changed my life, right? Because again, I think that you go back thousands of years, when cavemen used to sit around campfires with cavemen and cave women and children, it was through sharing stories and experiences and what was good and what wasn't good. And ultimately, that's the only thing that ever has moved humanity forward, is sharing, our elders speaking to us and us taking that wisdom and doing something with it. And guys, that's when the coaching bug really bit me, because as I started to build my portfolio and started to, work with other coaches myself, because I saw the value in it, people started coming to me saying, Trevor, you're buying all these properties. How are you doing this? Where are you buying? What are you buying? Where are you getting the money to do this? How are you getting the banks to lend you some money? And I found myself literally coaching my son's little league baseball coach. I was coaching my other son's soccer coach. And literally within a very short amount of time, they went out there and applied what I taught them, and they started to buy income producing property. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. And so it was really around that same time that I was working with another coach of mine from the Anthony Robbins Corporation. You know Tony Robbins. Everyone knows Tony Robbins.
I think I've heard of him.
You might have heard of him. He's 6'7". He's got big hands and big teeth. And, my coach said, Trevor, you are so passionate about people, so passionate about real estate, so passionate about business. Have you thought of ever applying to Tony Robbins? Because Tony's looking for more business coaches. And I laughed. I said, well, I don't have any official coaching experience. And he said, you just have to have a passion for helping people and know just a little bit enough to be dangerous enough that if you pass that along, and help people co-create possibility, you'd be a phenomenal addition to our team. And I kind of poo-pooed it at the time, but he kept working on me and working on me. And so I said, finally, I put in a resume. Well, at that time, they got 500 resumes for Tony Robbins coaches. And I made the short list from 500 down to 250, then 250 to 100, 100 to 50. And when you crack the top 50, that doesn't mean you become a coach. It means you got to start the Tony Robbins journey. So I had to read all the books, go to all the seminars, listen to all the CDs. And even though I done that, it didn't mean I got to be a coach, but I had to go take my live practicum with Team Robbins. And I flew down to Orlando, Florida, and I took a whole bunch of coaching programs and certifications, did my practicum. And ultimately, when the dust settled, they offered me a full-time position. I left everything I was doing to go work for the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Robbins. I literally spent half a decade as one of his top coaches on the planet, coaching millionaires and billionaires and real estate folks and athletes and lawyers and attorneys. But I really loved real estate investors. Now, why did I love coaching real estate investors? Well, because I was one. And number two, I believe that real estate is the greatest wealth vehicle on the planet, whether you want to do it actively or you want to do it passively, right? If you want to do it in Canada or the States or the UK or Asia or as far away as Australia, real estate to me is a vehicle that can really create impact and income. And it was really then through my Tony Robbins experience that I absolutely fell in love with coaching. And I started to hire even other coaches and mentors and teachers and trainers and facilitators where I was immersed in this stuff. And then in 2017, I left Tony Robbins to open Trevor McGregor International, where I've coached the likes of Joe Fairless and a host of other people that we both know. And I'm telling you, it is my passion. Where real estate feeds my pocketbook, coaching feeds my soul, because there's nothing better than to seeing some of our clients or students go out there and create empires of their own and impact that rivals anything that they could have done pre-coaching. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely incredible. And correct me if I'm wrong, you went through this really kind of low point in your life, and real estate's what kind of helped you get out of it and find success. So I'm sure that you are an incredible coach to people when it comes to the real estate side of things, because you can really guide them on how they can find success through real estate investing too, because you can relate to them. And when somebody feels related to, I mean, that's probably what makes an incredible coach as well, right? So,
hey, but you're spot on. I'll give you 1,000 points for that, because it's amazing to see. And it's kind of like Tony Robbins says that success is 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. So I'll say that again. Success is 80% psychology. That's how you think. And then taking that thinking and going out there, and that's where the rubber meets the road, right? So I think for any business owner, any real estate investor, anyone who wants to go from where they are to where they truly want to be, they got to start with, well, how am I thinking or approaching things? And then am I taking what I call intelligent and inspired action? And note that I didn't just say take action. I said intelligent action, which means smart, right? And inspired action, which really means that, hey, we don't have to do this. We get to do this. And I'm telling you, there are no limits to what you can do in real estate. And, like you said earlier in the introduction, one of my famous case studies is the man, Joe Fairless. I mean, when I met Joe Fairless, he owned 4 single family homes in Texas. Okay, get this, 4 single family homes in Texas. And those were worth about $60,000 a house, right? And he'd literally do these, and then a tenant would move out and he'd have to repaint and refloor it and all these things. And he really found that he couldn't scale owning these 4 single family homes. And that's when we started to talk about apartment buildings and multifamily syndications and all of these things, where Joe got really lit up about seeing the possibilities through scaling through apartment syndication. And he was teaching these little courses at the library when I said, hey, Joe, you're so passionate about real estate and you're so smart about it. Have you ever thought of starting a podcast to share it with more people? And you know what he said to me? He said, Trevor, that's a stupid idea. Nobody's going to want to listen to me. Nobody's going to want me to put on a podcast. I'm only going to have my mom and dad and my dog listening. No way, I'm not doing it. But as a high performance coach, I challenged him. I said, Joe, I really believe that you should think about it. And I'm telling you, you would be phenomenal. And guess what? He took that advice and he started the Best Ever podcast, where now there's over 3,000 episodes, right? He's written 3 amazing books, puts on incredible conferences. And to date, Joe has $1.95 billion
With a
in
B.
assets under management with a B. 1.95 billion. And I've had a front row seat
Yes.
to every single part of that because I started coaching Joe back in 2013. And every year since then, I've seen him apply the thinking, right? And then, use his hands and surround himself with good people and good processes to go out there and rinse and repeat through this beautiful thing called real estate. But that's not all. Joe also made it his mission to become a coach and teach other people how to do exactly what he was doing. So the ripple effect of what we've started and what we've worked on, I can't even begin to think of how many lives have changed, how many businesses have changed, how many dollars have been created, how much impact has been created from where we started back in 2013, because both of us were passionate about people, impact, and real estate. What do you think of that?
Tremendous.
That's truly, truly amazing. And I wanted to talk, let's talk about limiting beliefs, right? A lot of people have limitations, set limitations on themselves and don't actually believe that they can take the next step. And it seems like you even kind of helped Joe say, hey, I don't want to do this podcast. And you did it, and look at how it turned out. As a coach, you don't have to give us all your secrets, but how do you help your clients get over that step of the limitations that they set on themselves?
Well, I love the question. And again, it's really, really important to first understand that, change is hard. So to go from where you are to somewhere you want to be, because we haven't done it yet and it's unfamiliar with it, or with what the process is, we tend to focus on the past because that's what we're most familiar with. Where did we grow up? What did we do? How much education do we have? What are our beliefs about money? All of those things. And what I do as a high performance coach is I try to get people to understand that the past is exactly that. It's the past, but let's step into what we call the present to create what we call the predictable future. So I'll say that again. We have to leave the familiar past to step into the present to create the predictable future. Okay, well, Trevor, that sounds really good, but how do we do it? And there's really a real secret that Tony Robbins and I use, whether we're coaching real estate investors, business owners, attorneys, doctors, Fortune 500 executives, Olympic athletes, and every one of these 4 words starts with the letter S. So let me drip them on you and drip them on the listener right now, because they will be so familiar to you as I give them to you that you're going to start to think about how you're approaching each one of these words and how you can use these words to transform your business, your finances, and your life. Are you guys ready to go?
Ready to go?
All right. The first S is really what we call your state. And your state is really your focus, right? Are you focused on why things aren't going to work, right? Or are you focused on what could work? Are you focused on, how much work it's going to be, or how excited you are to embark on the journey? Because wherever we put our focus, we put our energy, right? And again, I'm not going to pick on most people, but we're coming, out of the backside of this pandemic, and most people are focused on why they're broke, why they're out of shape, and why they're fighting with their spouse. Well, if that's where you focus by being, broke, lonely, and fat, you're going to stay broke, lonely, and fat versus, hey, you ask a better question. How could I get in great shape? How could I make some more money? Or how could I be in a loving relationship? Because again, where focus goes, energy flows. So the first thing you got to check in with is, where's your state? Where's your focus? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
100%.
And then we go to number 2. And this is my favorite one, because number 2 is your story. And your story, folks, is really your identity. It's who you believe you are. And again, most people are saying, I'm not smart enough. I'm not educated enough. What if I lose money? What if I lose investors' money? And we literally have this belief or this identity that we're not smart enough, good enough, old enough, educated enough. And that's a bunch of BS. And what does BS stand for? Well, we know what it stands for, but for me, it stands for your belief system. If you're not in the right state and you have a bad story, well, it's going to be pretty hard for you to recreate possibility. So the very first thing I, as a high performance coach, do is we get crystal clear on, where's your focus? That's your state. And number 2, we step into creating a better version of your story so that you can stand on the shoulders of other giants who have already done what it is you're trying to do in real estate. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You bet. So you know where I'm going with the third S, and that is your standards. Because I'll tell you guys both right now that the quality of your life will be in direct proportion to the standards you set for yourself. I mean, think about it. Where do you need to draw a line in the sand right now? Where do you need to do, or what do you need to do to step over that line and never play below your standard again? It could be in your health, could be in your relationships, it could be with money, it could be with traveling the world, because as COVID opens up, I want more people to get out there and just see how magnificent this beautiful blue planet is. But most of us really don't think about our standards, or we don't think, how can I improve and make micro improvements every day? So if we go back now and you're really owning a better state, you're owning a better story or identity, you're owning a better standard in terms of how you're showing up, then the fourth S is relatively, awesome, because it is really what we call your strategy, right? And your strategy is really, are you following a roadmap, a recipe, a blueprint, a GPS, so that you can go from where you are to where you want to be? And if you don't have one, well, when would hiring a coach be a good time? When would going to a meetup be a good time? When would, partnering with a company like yours to put your dollars to work in beautiful income producing assets? I mean, when would now be a good time to follow that strategy? But you never, ever want to enter a strategy without first checking in with your state, your story, and your standards, because those three must come before the strategy. Amazing. And those, my friends, are the four S's. What do you think?
I love it.
I'm gonna frame it and put it on our wall.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. And I was also thinking about, you said two really important words, I am. And it's the way you speak to yourself a lot of the time. So those two words, I am, I used to write I am on the mirror with whatever I thought I was before. And it really makes an impact on the way you talk to yourself.
Absolutely. It really does, because when you brought up the words limiting beliefs, again, most people don't realize that their brain is crawling around with ants. And if you don't know what ants are automatic negative thoughts, ANTS. And so if we don't deal with the ants in our head, or we don't work on our beliefs, or we don't do affirmations like I am statements or incantations that might sound like Tony teaches, that every day in every way I'm getting better and better.
Yes.
Every day in every way I'm getting smarter and smarter, or every day in every way I'm making more money.
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't know what's real and what's fictitious, but the more we impregnate it with positive words, affirmations, incantations, we watch good videos, we watch good TED Talks, we attend good real estate events, we listen to awesome podcasts and YouTube shows like this one, we start doing something called stacking. And it's like where you put good on top of good, on top of good, on top of good. And now you're building a skyscraper of it, and you just feel and behave differently than if you didn't do that stuff. What do you think?
I absolutely love it. Now, for everybody listening, Trevor and we grew up in Alberta. So I'm from a really small city in Alberta. He's familiar with it. He was just about 20 minutes away from me. So speaking of limited beliefs, I mean, it was about 20,000 people where I grew up, right? I was a small town girl, and I kicked those limiting beliefs in the butt, threw them out the door, and I moved out to Vancouver not knowing a single soul. And what did that lead me to? It led me to building a real estate private equity firm here in Vancouver, and helping many people and kind of creating a movement across Canada. So just by listening to you, I already can see how you unlock the power in your clients for them to really, it's all about just putting the fear aside and putting the limiting beliefs aside, and then stepping into your power to create the life of your dreams. So really 100%. Amazing.
Yeah. And congratulations to you, because again, you're an inspiration for many people that think they can't get out of their small town to go to a bigger town, or they can't get out of a relationship that's not working to a beautiful relationship like you guys have, or whatever it is. Because again, a lot of people think, if I try, I'll fail. Or if I try, people will judge me. What do you mean you're moving out to Vancouver? What do you mean you're investing in real estate? Don't do that. That could be risky, right? And then our dreams get killed on the vine by some things other people say. So if all we do is walk around fearing failure, or all we do is walk around fearing criticism, or all we do is walk around fearing unworthiness, those are the three things that hold most people back, Ava, from doing exactly what you did, because you can feel the fear, but you have to do something that I call taking a new position of authority over the fear, right? Because if you didn't take that position of authority over the fear, you never would have left small town Alberta to come to the great city that Vancouver is, let alone crush it with Remax and crush it with your company and do the things you're doing now. Because what I see you guys doing is creating a heck of a lot of impact. And I believe that when we make impact as real estate investors, as coaches, as anybody, if you do create impact, right, oftentimes you get paid income to do it. And that's why I believe that coaching, real estate, consulting, bringing people together for the common good is exactly what we're all here to do anyway. And we get paid for it handsomely.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
We have to touch on the 5 reasons why people fail to scale in real estate. But one moment before that, and then after that, we have our 10 championship rounds of financial freedom. I really need to touch on those two very important points. But before getting that, my last question about in relations to coaching, I want to talk about the journey of a student that comes through your program. Yeah. And the first question is, I used to box for many years. A lot of times the boxing coach, when a boxing coach sees a kid walking into the gym, he already knows by the way he moves, by the way he carries himself. First couple of days, he knows if this kid is going to make it or not. And then a lot of time also boxing coaches decide if they want to take someone on or not. Is that the case with you? Do you select your students or your mentees?
Well, it's a great question, and I guess to be completely transparent, I'm at that level of my career where I really look for certain qualities within people before I offer them coaching services. And there's really 4 things that I look for. So it kind of speaks to that boxing coach who can literally look and see, who's in the room. So number 1, the first thing I look for is this person committed, right? Because you got to be committed. If you're going to play in this game of life at the highest level, you got to commit to it. Number 2 is you got to be decisive, right? We as entrepreneurs and investors, we're going to need to make decisions. So not only do you need to be committed to this journey, but you got to be able to make decisions and be decisive. Number 3 is what I call being coachable. That's right, coachable. I want you to empty your cup out of what you think you know and let Coach T fill it back up with what I know works after coaching the likes of the people I have, after being a real estate investor myself, and after doing 30,000 coaching sessions. I mean, come on, I'd have to be an idiot at this stage not to be able to see what causes people to stay stuck versus what causes people to able to explode the results. So once I see that somebody's committed, they're decisive, they're coachable. Number 4, folks, is what we call resourceful, right? Because to go from where you are to where you want to be, it's going to take time, it's going to take money, it's going to take energy and effort. But I'm telling you, the rewards are incredible for anyone that shows up, committed, decisive, coachable, and resourceful. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And just briefly, what does that journey look like? So is there an onboarding period? Is there a audit that you do on the person and their life and their business? And then do you put strategies in place? Just walk us through that journey, how that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. You're really close because again, once I identify that someone's got those 4 characteristics and we do a discovery call, I find out a little bit about what their journey's been. What do they want to go? Why do they want to go there? I mean, I'm able to discern pretty quickly whether this is somebody that's either interested in success or committed to success, right? And if they're interested in success, I mean, that's okay. But I'm telling you, the people I want to work with are the people that are committed. In fact, I call it being defiantly committed to success. And if that's the case, then I give them one of my 3 options. I've got a 3-month package, I've got a 6-month package, and I've got an annual 1-year package. And it really depends on what they need, because I found, guys, that over the years, different people need different levels of coaching. Different people need, different hand-holding, different psychology, different strategy. And that's why my coaching program isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's really customized for what each individual needs as they come in, or what each couple needs, or what each partnership group needs. Because again, at the end of the day, different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely. Incredible. Bespoke coaching, custom tailored. Amazing. Let's briefly go over the 5 reasons why people fail to scale real estate. I mean, we do have some limited time, but if you'd like to briefly go over that, we'd love to hear the reason, because you 30,000 hours.
Yeah.
You must have talked to a lot of people, and you might see a lot of different reasons why people can't scale, or hurdles they put in front of themselves and other things. And talk to us about those five main reasons, please.
Well, thank you so much. And I guess I would first of all say that, guys, this is universal. It doesn't matter if you're in Canada or the US or the UK or Asia or Australia. These are the five things that I found, again, after being a real estate investor myself, coaching the likes of Joe Fairless and the Dan Hanfords of the world and all these types of folks, is that these are the five things that continually hold people back. And the very first one, we've already talked about it. Number one is limiting beliefs. Right? Because again, we've got this 3-pound mass between our ears called our brain, and our brain is here to keep us safe. So if we think it's going to be hard, or we're going to lose money, or we're going to invest, in a place like Phoenix from here in Canada, and that could be daunting, we've got to do some work with those beliefs to really call out what's really underneath that. Because I'm a big believer that there's always a story underneath the story, and whatever you're telling yourself on the surface, oftentimes we got to go deeper than that. So I do a lot of belief work with people. Does that resonate?
Absolutely.
You bet. That takes us to number two, which is a lack of a strategic plan, right? And I'm telling you this, more people plan their trip to Mexico once a year than they sit down and plan their business or their life. So we get crystal clear on really what are your short-term goals. That's for me, like 1 to 2 years. What are your long-term goals? That might be anywhere from 2 to 5 years. And then anything beyond 5 years, guys, I call the vision for your business and your life. So we take a look at short-term goals, long-term goals. What is your vision? And then from that point, we reverse engineer a plan to start moving you in that direction. So number one, we get rid of those limiting beliefs. Number two, we start to create that plan of action. And that takes us to number three, because the third reason why most people fail to scale is lack of systems for support, right? Because it's not enough to just get clear in the brain and create a plan. But if you're not creating systems and roles and responsibilities and protocols and leveraging technology and defining what people should and shouldn't be doing, I'm telling you, you're really fooling yourself. So we really work hard at not only, setting up systems for support, but robust systems that are going to absolutely continue to pay dividends as you use them day by week, by month, by quarter, by year. Does that resonate?
Absolutely.
100.
Number four, my favorite topic, which is simply poor time management. I'll say it out loud. Most people suck at time management. I'm just going to call it tight here. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the rule of 168, but the rule of 168 decrees or means that we all have 168 hours in a week. 7 days times 24 hours is 168 hours. Now, we sleep for a bunch of those hours. We eat, we pay the bills, we play with the kids, we travel, we do things. But what are you doing with your productive time, and how productive are you doing it? So I teach something called the productivity pyramid, which, I've become really known for, that really starts to give you a real good understanding of exactly what you're doing with your time and what you should be doing with your time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%. And one last thing before we move to the next round is, when you work for that long as a coach, that many hours, that many different students, and that many different life experiences, even you say gut feeling is actually in your brain. It's the limbic part of your brain.
Yeah.
So Trevor is there answering, coaching, saying things back, because the experiences he's had with all these different students and his own life can automatically should become the light and give the guide.
I love it.
To the student asking the question. And forgive me for keep calling it a student, but we can call it mentee, student.
No, absolutely.
Member.
And Trevor, what's the number 5?
Yeah, the fifth and final one is really, you guys will know this well yourselves, it's a lack of execution, right?
Right.
Because if you're not out there taking that intelligent and inspired action we talked about, you're really fooling yourself, because we can get rid of your limiting beliefs, create the action plan, create systems for support, optimize and maximize your time management. But if you're not out there doing what you say you're going to do, you're really, missing the mark. And that's the other thing about coaching, is a good coach or a teacher or a mentor or a trainer or a facilitator is absolutely going to hold your feet to the fire and make sure that you're doing what you say you're going to do. So if we go back to the Joe Fairlesses and all the people like the Dan Hanfords that have come from the Joe Fairless camp, I mean, Joe's cut from that same cloth, that I am, that, just, not really hitting on those 5 things is doing a disservice to people versus really getting people to own those 5 things. What do you guys think?
Oh
We love
yeah,
it.
amazing.
We love it, man.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Well,
Perfect.
we're going to quickly step into the 10 championship rounds of financial freedom. Whatever comes top of mind. You're incredible. So I can't wait to see what you have to say on these questions, but let's start off with the first question. Who was the most influential person in your life?
Wow, that's an interesting one. And again, gosh, thought-provoking questions are coming. I've got several people that were instrumental in my life. My first one being my grandmother, who was an entrepreneur. She owned a little corner store in a small town in Alberta, and I always admired her for not going out there and doing what other people did or having a boss or working in a job. So I'd say that she's been a big one. My parents have been a big one, but Tony Robbins as well has changed my life for the better in unbelievable ways.
Nice.
Do you guys have each other's personal numbers with Tony Robbins?
No, he keeps changing his number on me, so I can't get a hold of him. But thanks for asking.
All right, Trevor, what's the number one book you'd recommend?
Without a hazard of a doubt, Think and Grow Rich.
Nice.
And I know a lot of people.
Look at it right there.
There it is. Yeah, I can pull it up. I've probably got 6 copies in the house. But what I love about that book, or Personal Power with Tony Robbins, or Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is it really gets you to think and see through what I call a different lens, right? And Napoleon Hill and what he shares in that book, I mean, oftentimes he'll say that the secret is hidden throughout every page of this book if you finally stumble upon it. Well, spoiler alert, the secret of that book is the title of the book. It's called Think and Grow Rich. He didn't write the book Do and Grow Rich because the thinking comes before the doing. And I'm telling you, I teach a lot out of that book, and a lot of what, him and, everyone in that book is about. And I just absolutely love it. I've got the audiobook. My kids listen to it in the SUV as we drive around. They can recite passages from it. It's that profound. Absolutely love it.
Awesome.
Evangelical.
Awesome.
You're thinking
big time.
Evangelical.
All right. If you had the opportunity to travel back in time, what advice would you give your younger self?
Wow, these are great questions, guys. I guess the first thing I would say to myself is, dare to dream, right? Because again, we've got 3 types of goals. We've got A goals, which are things that we could probably achieve. B goals, which are a little bit more of a stretch, but we could probably do them because other people have done them. Or C goals, which are the real BHAG goals. And I think I played safe in my early years and went after some A and B goals without really thinking about what's truly possible in C goals. And I'll often, think about the Wright brothers. These were 2 bicycle mechanics that had this C goal of getting a flying machine in the air. Was it easy? No. Did they crash and burn a bunch of times? Yes. Did they almost lose their life? Yes. But eventually they got to their dream. Or Elon Musk. I mean, Elon Musk is going to, put man on Mars. I can't think of anything bigger than, leaving the planet and putting man on Mars. So sometimes you got to really check in with where are your A goals, where are your B goals, and you do need to have some C goals. So that's what I tell my younger self.
Amazing. All right. Trevor, what's the best investment you've ever made?
The best investment I ever made was in that coach that I told you about when I was down and out. I mean, there I was broke. I gained 25 pounds and I got really fat, and it caused a huge dust up in my marriage. So again, if I wasn't, able to invest in that coach and really didn't have this person to take me under his wing and tell me that, what, this too shall pass, or out of all chaos comes order, I don't even know if we'd be talking today. So by far, that's the best investment I've ever made.
All right. Now, what is
I think he's answered this before, but we go ahead and ask it. It might be different.
Sure. What's the worst investment you've ever made, and what lessons did you learn from it?
The worst investment I ever made was actually putting all that money into that, failed business, because I did it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
I did it to go after, money. I did it to go after, I was going to retire rich and young. Well, guess what? The universe took out a 2x4 and hit me over the head and said, that's not why you do things. You do things to really, expand humanity, or expand experience, or expand life. And I think I was a little narrow-minded back then. And I still believe that it was a really good lesson for me, because again, I wouldn't be here talking to you if I didn't go through those life lessons. But at the end of the day, be very careful what you're investing in or why you're investing, because it might not just be what, you're meant to do.
Amazing.
Well said. Okay, just about done here. How much would you need in the bank to retire today? What's your number?
That's a loaded question. Wow. Well, it's funny you ask, because I believe in creating multiple streams of income. So it's not about having money in the bank, guys. It's really, like having different streams. So I have, obviously a stream of income from real estate. I have a stream of income from coaching. I have a stream of income from consulting. I have a stream of income from keynote speaking. And my wife and I actually, just launched a pretty successful publishing company that is doing 7 figures a year, just that one income stream. So I don't say that to beat on my chest. I say it that we've really worked hard over the years to set ourselves up so that, money wasn't going to be an issue. And we also like to use some of that, money to travel or to give to charity or to give to special causes. So I would say that the best answer is see what you can do to set yourself up with multiple streams of income and really diversify.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. If you could have dinner with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
Holy moly. You guys are awesome. These are great questions. And I think for me, I'd love to have dinner with Napoleon Hill because, I think he's a rock star. And I just think that he really, changed the whole personal growth space, and him and Earl Nightingale and the Tony Robbins and the Jim Rohns and the Joe Dispenzas and all these just absolutely amazing people have really impacted my life. So I think he'd be one. There's probably a few sports heroes that have passed that I would love to sit with because I'm a big sports fan and that sort of thing. But to tidy it up, I think Napoleon Hill would be amazing to sit and just pick his brain and listen to what he's learned over his time.
Absolutely. All right. If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what would you be doing now?
I'd be doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
I would find a way to stop doing anything that I shouldn't be doing, because I'm telling you guys, coaching is not for the faint of heart, because again, you're doing a lot of one-to-one work and group work that sometimes can get pretty heavy and sometimes get, pretty daunting. But at the end of the day, you know what, I really do believe that I'm cut from the cloth of really wanting to help humanity go further, faster, and do something that I call turning decades into days. I don't want people to take 10 freaking years to figure stuff out when they can hire coaches or mentors or people like you who have already done what they're trying to get into. So I'm a big believer that, I found my calling, and I'll probably be doing this until I'm no longer able to speak. And I'm starting to get the old Tony Robbins raspy voice already, just because, I've done so many sessions and I just love what I do. And, but yeah, this is ultimately what I'm here for.
That's
Beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah. All right, Trevor, book smarts or street smarts?
Whew. Can we talk about a hybrid model?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that, history is something that we should not ignore. So I think you have to have some book smart and some understanding of where have we come from, where are we at, and where are we going. But I'm telling you, nothing trumps, going out there and getting your butt whooped or making money, losing money, finding love, losing love. I mean, gosh, I don't think anybody goes through life in a straight line. It's more like a roller coaster with a bunch of loop-de-loops, and you feel like you're going to fall out sometimes, but it's exactly the way the universe was designed to teach us lessons and teach us, things like compassion and empathy and diversity and all of those things. So at the end of the day, I think you need a hybrid of both.
Amazing. Okay, last question. If you had $1 million cash and you had to make one investment today, what would it be?
Again, you're putting me on the spot because I definitely invest in real estate,
Yeah.
but I would also take a little bit of that money and find some way to put it into cryptocurrency, because again, I'm a big Wayne Gretzky fan, and Gretzky said, I don't just skate to where the puck is, I skate to where the puck is going. And I think that with smart contracts and blockchain technology and just some of this, rumblings of what's going on in the world today, I'm a big believer in real estate, and I'm always going to put money towards real estate. But I'm also seeing some really cool things come out of the crypto community and, really starting to get my feet wet there in a big way.
Very
Amazing.
cool.
Amazing.
All right, Trevor, what's the best way people can reach you?
Well, thank you so much. And I'm just blessed and grateful to be here. You guys are awesome. And for anyone that wants to reach out, you can either find me on my website, which is trevormcgregor.com, or you can find me through LinkedIn or some of the social channels. But my website is probably the best place to find me, trevormcgregor.com.
Hey man, we
Amazing.
loved it. Thank you so much. We
You're
can't
the
believe we got
best.
the honor to have you on our
I
show. We're so
know.
excited about it.
Yes.
And really appreciate you coming on, your transparency, your story, all the lessons you taught us and our following. Really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you're truly amazing, Trevor. Thank you.
Thank you. And right back at you. And thanks for having me on.
Thank you.